These are the stories
My little girl, she's changing lives just by being herself.
of organizations and people making a difference.
When you first tell someone about adaptive wheelchair boxing, it doesn't sound real.
And empowering others
It saved my life. It saved my life.
across Canada
I scored my first goal in my first blind hockey game.
in our community.
Edie, you want to try dropping from that side?
This is Petey Hayfele. While he may seem like an average 9-year-old at the skate park, his mom Andrea knows Petey is anything but average.
I guess if people see him at school or out in recreation or in the community, he's a strong leader, very outgoing, loves to try new things. But at home, he has a very different role where he's seen as a young carer.
Bella has a disability and she has autism, and I help her a lot, and she has a dog, and her dog is a service dog, and it is a standard poodle.
Bella is 12 years old. She is diagnosed with Pitt-Hopkins syndrome. She's on the severe end of the autism spectrum, and she also has cortical vision impairment. So she's very different than other children her age, but wonderfully different.
Bella requires one-to-one support for her physical and emotional safety at all times.
There are times where Petey has to be an adult, where he has to do things that a typical 9-year-old doesn't really do.
If I don't have Bella, something bad can happen to her.
Petey has grown up entertaining and keeping an eye out for Bella, but it's been tough for Andrea and her husband to find the right balance for their children.
Bubbles.
When you are in a position where you have to care for someone who needs that constant one-on-one, it's very easy to forget the emotional needs that someone like Petey requires. He had a lot of misbehaviors at school in kindergarten, and we realized as parents that we were putting so much time in Bella that his behavior was his way of asking for our attention as parents. So I reached out to the Bloorview Hospital because that's where Bella's medical team is, and they connected us with a group called the Young Carers Group.
Chelsea Alex is the program coordinator for the Young Carers program, which is run by Hospice Toronto for children and youth between the ages of 5 and 18.
Young carers are children and youth who are in a caregiving role for a family member. So that could be a sibling, a parent, living grandparent, and this family member might have a chronic or terminal illness, a mental illness, a disability, or a language barrier.
The program runs multiple activities to help children deal with the experience of caring for a family member, something that Chelsea understands firsthand.
When I was a teenager, my dad was diagnosed with cancer, and that diagnosis became terminal. I think he lived for about 5 years with cancer, so I had no idea what a young carer was, or it was just my life at the time and what I did.
Sage Johnston knows all too well the difficulties that come with this role. At just 16 years old, she and her 2 younger brothers, Reese and Mac, helped their mother, Taya Jones, deal with her ALS diagnosis.
Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. It is the degeneration of your nerve cells. You lose your muscle function. It's a 100% fatal disease right now. There's currently no treatment. They give people, depending on how they've presented, 2 to 4 years or 3 to 5 usually to live.
Seeing her sick is just like, at first I didn't believe it because she ran marathons and she's like the fastest runner I know. And like Sunday mornings, I'm running 21K. And I'm like, okay, that's not normal. And then she would be doing yoga and boot camp, plus running, plus biking during a day. Go, Mackie. My turn to shoot.
Adjusting to the diagnosis over the past 3 years hasn't been easy. As Taya's disease has progressed, she's lost most of the ability in her arms.
When COVID started, that's when I really oh, okay, so it's starting. Her hand, she couldn't write anymore. And it was just the amount of things I was helping her with. I was like, I've never done this much for anyone before. I just took on more responsibility than others. That was my mindset. Like, I didn't put a title to it.
This is one issue Chelsea and the Young Carers program hope to address.
I think a huge part of working for YCP and Young Carers is building awareness. I think it's so important. A lot of young carers don't know they're young carers, and there's just not as much support, I think, as there should be for them. I feel like so often all these extra responsibilities and work and stuff they're doing goes so unnoticed.
As her kids took on more responsibility around the house, Taya was grateful to discover the program.
I knew they needed something, and I knew that me having my peer support made all the difference for me in my coping. And so I thought if I could link them with people also experiencing something similar, they could have that experience as well. I know he is. He's just doing it. I remember our first was a family night where we all had things, and I think Chelsea had sent us a package, and we did this big bingo thing on the floor, and there was just so much laughter in my house as they were doing this. I love you.
Love you. I remember just like being really grateful that we did it eventually because like I had a good time. I was relaxed.
Just give me the ball to throw to Reese.
Okay. For me, there was this moment of normalcy. We were laughing and doing a game together. We weren't like mom and kids or a person who needed caring and caregivers. It was a game, and we lost a little bit of track of time and enjoyed ourselves.
While Sage took on the role of young carer as a teenager, 10-year-old Willow Kemp has been one since the day she was born. Her mother, Sitara Deganye, remembers caring for Willow while her son Hunter received treatment for leukemia.
That's the bishop, that's the knight, that's the castle.
Somewhere in the middle of Hunter's treatment, Willow was born. You know, at 5-6 days, she moved into the hospital.
When he had cancer in the hospital, I kind of grew up there, like by his side, kind of like a living stuffed animal. And like you have so many pictures of him just like snuggling me, like as me as a baby, just on the hospital bed with him.
I think of the impact on her life. Growing up at the hospital, you know, that was her preschool. That's where she rolled over for the first time. That's where she took her first steps. Like all of our family moments, all of her life moments were at the hospital.
Willow has taken part in many young carers' activities, including their popular SIBS workshop for spectacular, incredible, brave siblings.
I can't give her what they can. I can't give her what she gets from being with other young carers. There's an epidemic of silently suffering, working young people who play important roles in their families that are not recognized at school, not recognized by society. There's no, you know, COVID relief fund for the young carer. There's no EI fund for the young carer. There's no program I can apply to get, you know, extra support or resources for Willow.
I think it's nice to have like people who know what I'm going through, understand what I'm going through, and who can help me, like give me tips and stuff. So it's nice to have like something that's just for me.
Checkmate.
Okay. Checkmate.
Our community will return after the break. We now return to our community. Willow Kemp continues to help care for Hunter, who is now 14, but still deals with chronic pain and exhaustion from his leukemia treatments as a young child.
The first word out of Hunter's mouth when he wakes up in the morning is Willow. He calls for Willow every morning, especially if he's been in pain.
If I like lay with him in his bed, or I draw with him, or just like watch a show with him, I can tell that I'm making him feel better, and that just makes me happy.
Spending so much time together has created an unbreakable bond between the two siblings.
Their bond it's beautiful, you know, but it means that she was also there for all the painful procedures and all the really hard moments as well. I think the role of siblings in particular is often forgotten. They experience things not as an outsider and not as the patient themselves. They experience things so deeply and almost go through what their sibling goes through.
It can also be difficult for Willow to take time for herself, to do even simple things like playing on her backyard trampoline.
I know that, like, my mom will help him if I don't, but I like to be there for him, and I like to be the one who helps him.
I think the emotional toll is that she feels always on call. I want her to know that, yeah, you're doing something invaluable. You're doing something that takes work and effort, and it might come naturally, but on some days you might not have it in you, and that's okay too.
For Petey, caregiving for his older sister Bella comes with its own unique challenges. Despite their differences, they still enjoy playing together, and the local playground is one of their favorite spots.
It's hard because, like, you can't tell what she feels like, and then I sometimes know what she feels like by her emotions.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Sometimes she's like angry and she starts hitting, and then when she's happy, she always laughs. And she breathes hard. And it's also pretty hard because there's a lot of stuff to do, and it's hard to make her happy because she can't talk. She talks with an iPad. Sometimes if she wants to say something, she can't say it.
Good job.
I can make her fly.
You can see her, look at her.
I like going on the swing with her because she always laughs.
Around the house, Petey plays a huge role.
I help my mom get like food for her sometimes, and when my mom has to do something, I make her happy. I help her get toys when she asks for a toy on her iPad. I go to the playroom and I get it for her. You need to catch her. Catch!
His mother Andrea knows that being a young carer can be difficult for Petey.
Sometimes I feel that he's missing out on many things because we have Bella.
Can you spin me, Mom?
We're not able to do typical things that families can do, such as traveling, different things out in the community, going out to a restaurant. But he understands why we can't, why we have to leave somewhere, why we have to be home at a certain time.
Oh my God, I'm dizzy.
I think that being a young caregiver, you have a really big, invisible backpack that's packed with a lot of invisible emotions that many might not see on the outside.
I'll do it for her.
Yeah, do it for her. She'll follow.
There's a lot of things that he carries around that many may not see. His experience needs to be heard too, so that when he's at school and he's not feeling his normal self, teachers, administrators, his friends need to know that there are things that happen in our home that some may not see.
For Sage and her younger brothers, Reese and Mac, their list of responsibilities continues to grow, including administering their mother's medication as her disease progresses.
So, like, I can't do any of this on my own, right? Like, I can't hold the bottles so much or turn the bottles or undo them.
I used to watch TV shows after putting my mom to bed, but now that she's gotten more sicker, it takes more time to put her to bed, and then I have to get myself ready for bed. So I haven't been like watching shows, and my friends are all like, "Wait, you don't do that anymore?" I'm like, I can, but it doesn't affect me as much because I get to spend more time with my mom. And that's another thing with young carers. They try to tell you when it's like okay to take time for yourself, but I find it's hard for me to do that.
May I please get into my comfy clothes before I sit down?
Young Carers Program Coordinator Chelsea Alex understands the experience can be both positive and negative.
Though being a young carer has a lot of positive skills, these kids tend to be more compassionate, mature, independent. It also can have a lot of impacts as well. So a lot of psychological impacts, physical impacts, educational impacts.
No, I'm okay right now.
I know, I'm leaving it.
Oh, okay.
For you, you can do it on your own.
The other big one is social isolation. Because of these roles, sometimes they're missing out on things like birthday parties, social events, extracurriculars that a lot of other kids might have. And just that not a lot of kids get it. It's some adults even, right, can barely grasp what it's like to take on those caregiving responsibilities.
I've lost a lot of friends, unfortunately. But with the ones I still have, it's still difficult to connect with them because they really don't understand. I try to explain, but it's really hard. I don't think anyone can really understand. I don't think that's possible unless you're put in the situation. So I'm not too mad at them because I understand, like, it's not your job to, like, ask me how I am, but it just gets confusing at times because I want them to check in on me. It's just like, it's very difficult.
Our Community will return after the break. We now return to Our Community. At Sage Johnston's house, she and her family are just sitting down to dinner. This daily routine gives everyone the chance to enjoy the time they have left together.
Sometimes I used to ask you guys what you did good for someone else today. What was something you did for someone else?
Did you do anything nice for anyone?
Did I do anything nice for someone today?
You picked me up from school.
I totally picked you guys up from school.
Thank you.
I was not parked in the right place, but I'll figure that out. Yeah.
As soon as I talk about the kids, it's just too hard. And you don't want them to suffer. And you don't want them to be without you. But I don't want to be without them either. So that's the hard part. Can't control what the disease does, but I can certainly control my reaction and trying to teach them that too. That, yeah, it's crappy some days, but at the same time, like, let's not lose even a minute of what we have together.
Despite Taya's terminal prognosis, Sage and her mother take comfort in the relationship between the three siblings.
Sometimes I think in the future, what it would look like when I get married or have a kid and then she's not there. But then I always trail back to, I'll have my brothers and I'll have my dad and my grandparents. So I am grateful for them.
Becoming a young carer and getting involved with their programs has completely changed Sage's outlook on life.
I also do think it's, in a way, good that I'm a young carer because I've learned so much. I look at the world differently, and so that's a positive side of being a young carer, and I hope that, I do think that the programs we're in help us realize that, there is positive in this bad time in your life. A young carer has a lot of responsibility, so I know that I help my mom a lot, and without me, or my brothers, my mom would be doing too well. And just that shows how much it's how important a young carer is. I know it makes a difference to my mom, and I know that it'll make a difference to everyone who helps their parents or their older brothers or whoever they're taking care of.
This is kind of like my peace garden. So I just collect little house plants and find nice pots for them, and then eventually I'll bring them inside to my room. Then it's nice to take care of them.
Willow and her mother, Sitara, both know that the experience of caring for her older brother has shaped Willow as a person.
I think definitely I wouldn't have been the same. I wouldn't have been as aware of stuff that happens in the world. I don't think I would have been as mature or as caring.
It's honestly, it's a blessing for all of us. Willow is truly a gift to our family, and I can't even really articulate how close they are. It's made her a truly beautiful human being, and I love who she is. She sees people for who they are, and she connects with people. And she's so caring. And I guess it's sort of that, the diamond is made under pressure.
I would like to show you how I feed my fish. This one's Dad's. Mine is a smaller one over there.
When Andrea Haffele looks at her son Petey, she can't help but see the many positive aspects that have come from their own situation.
I think he's gaining a lot that many even adults don't have in terms of his empathy towards differences, people's differences. I know he's very caring. He cares a lot for Bella, and I think that trait that he has that's very unique will be with him for life.
Andrea hopes that young carers and the programs that support them will continue to grow in awareness.
I really think that it's important for others to learn about people like Petey in a young carer's role, is that we need to be able to support our children and youth in their mental health.
Despite the huge impact the Young Carers program makes in the lives of its participants, few have access to these kinds of programs. Program coordinator Chelsea Alex hopes this will start to change.
I think there's 3 Young Carers programs for all of Canada, and 2 of those are in Ontario, including us. Some might have like a sibling support or maybe like a cancer-specific caregiver group, but in terms of a program that just supports young carers, we only have 3. And I think there needs to be more, and we need to do what we can to kind of build that, to be able to give them that recognition and show them that they're not alone, and give them just a space to take a break, have some fun, and be a kid again, I think is so important.
Produced and directed by Tim Alp, writer and story editor Maureen Carter, narrator Jim Van Horn, director of photography Stefan Szymanski, camera operator Stefan Szymanski, Tim Alp, location audio Brian Mellersh, production manager Riley Alp, editor John Curtin, assistant editor Kevin Burton, integrated described video specialist M. Williams, graphics Andrew Antonello, content development specialist Karen McGee, coordinating producer Jennifer Johnson, director production Karen I, director programming Brian Perdue, VP Content Development and Programming, John Melville. President and CEO, David Arrington. Produced for AMI by Mountain Road Productions. Copyright 2022, Accessible Media, Inc.